If you have ever looked for an apartment, you know the process is already stressful. You are checking your budget, looking at locations, and hoping the landlord is reasonable. But now, imagine making that call, finding the perfect place, and then suddenly being asked, how dark is your skin? It sounds absurd, right? Almost like a bad joke. But that exact question forms the core of one of the most brilliant, biting poems in modern African literature. Today, we are diving deep into Telephone Conversation by the legendary Nigerian writer Wole Soyinka.
Before we start analyzing the poem, let us do a quick reading of the poem first. Follow me as I read. The price seemed reasonable. Location, indifferent. The landlady swore she lived off premises. Nothing remained but self-confession. Madam, I warned, I hate a wasted journey. I am African. Silence. Silence transmission of pressurized good breeding. Voice, when it came, lipstick coated. Long gold-rolled cigarette holder pipped. Caught I was. Foully.
How dark?
I had not misheard.
Are you light or very dark?
Button B, button A, stench of rancid breath of public hide and speak. Red booth, red pillar box, red double-tiered omnibus, squelching tar. It was real. Shamed by ill-mannered silence, surrender pushed dumbfoundment to beg simplification. Considerate she was, varying the emphasis.
Are you dark or very light?
Revelation came. You mean like plain or milk chocolate? Her accent was clinical, crushing in its light impersonality. Rapidly, wavelength adjusted. I chose West African sepia, and as an afterthought, down in my passport, silence for spectroscopic flight of fancy, till truthfulness changed her accent hard on the mouthpiece.
What's that?
Conceding.
Don't know what that is.
Like brunette.
That's dark, isn't it?
Not altogether. Facially, I am brunette. But madame, you should see the rest of me. Palm of my hand, soles of my feet are a peroxide blonde. Friction caused, foolishly madame, by sitting down has turned my bottom raven black. One moment, madame. Sensing her receiver rearing on the thunderclap about my ears, madame, I pleaded, wouldn't you rather see for yourself? Published in the early 1960s, this poem is a masterclass in irony and wit. It turns a simple chat about rent into a battlefield of racial prejudice. By the end of this video, you will see exactly how Soyinka uses humor to disarm racism and why this decades-old poem still matters today. Let us break it down. First, let's talk about where this story happens. The setting is split into two distinct spaces, and neither of them is physical. The primary setting is the telephone line itself. This is crucial. A phone call strips away your physical presence. It forces two people to interact purely through voice, tone, and imagination. It creates a false sense of distance. The landlady thinks she's safe behind her receiver, shielded by anonymity. The speaker is standing in a public phone booth, feeding coins into the slot. The secondary setting is the cultural backdrop, mid-20th century London. We're talking about a grey, chilly, and deeply segregated British metropolis. The speaker is on the street, surrounded by the physical realities of London, like the red pillar box and the double-decker buses. He's looking for a place to live in a city that doesn't necessarily want him there. To truly understand the weight of this poem, we need to step back into the late 1950s and early 1960s. Wole Soyinka moved to England to study at the University of Leeds and later worked in London. This was the post-World War II era, a time when the UK saw a massive wave of migration from its colonies in the Caribbean, Asia, and Africa. This period is often associated with the Windrush generation. White British society was not openly welcoming. Black people looking for housing routinely faced signs in windows that explicitly read, "No blacks, no Irish, no dogs." Racism was completely legal and socially acceptable. Soyinka wrote this poem from a place of direct personal experience. He was a highly educated, sophisticated young intellectual. Yet, to the average British landlord, his entire identity was reduced to a single factor: his skin color. This tension between intellectual superiority and societal reduction is what gives the poem its incredible spark.
Let us look at the plot, because the poem actually tells a very linear, simple story. The speaker finds an advertisement for an apartment. The location is good, the price is reasonable, and the landlady swears she does not live on the premises, which is a massive bonus for privacy. Everything seems perfect, but the speaker knows the unwritten rules of London. He decides to preempt the inevitable rejection by confessing his race up front. He says, "I am black." The line goes dead silent. The silence is heavy and suffocating. When the landlady finally speaks, she does not ask about his job, his references, or his lifestyle. Instead, she asks a clinical, almost scientific question. How dark? The speaker is stunned. She repeats the question, clarifying if he is light or very dark. Instead of getting angry or shouting, the speaker decides to play along with this ridiculous premise. He adopts a highly academic and sarcastic tone. He tells her he is West African sepia. When she doesn't understand what that means, he breaks down his body parts. He tells her his face is brunette, but his palms and the soles of his feet are a clean peroxide blonde. He even mentions that sitting down has turned his friction areas black. The conversation ends with the landlady slamming the phone down right as the speaker begs her to look at his body in person to decide. Now, let us put on our analytical hats and look at how Soyinka builds this interaction. The poem starts with an atmosphere of relief. The price is right, the location is indifferent. But notice how early the power dynamic shifts. The moment the speaker confesses his race, Soyinka describes the silence as a silenced transmission of pressurized good breeding. This line is pure gold. It means the woman is trying hard to seem polite and upper class, but her prejudice is putting massive pressure on her manners. When she finally speaks, her voice is described as lipstick-coated, long-rolled cigarette holder pipped. Think about that image. Soyinka is painting a picture of a wealthy, elite, fashionable white woman, but her elite status is instantly ruined by her ignorance. Her question, how dark, is capitalized in the text. It sounds like a shout. It sounds like a passport control officer demanding credentials. The speaker describes his response as a total mental breakdown. He feels surrounded by the sights and smells of London, the smell of rancid fat, the red postbox, the red bus. Everything feels overwhelmingly oppressive. He feels reduced to a machine. He writes, "I caught the mains." He feels plugged into her racist matrix. Then comes the counterattack. The speaker uses language as a weapon. By using words like brunette and sepia, he forces her to confront her own lack of sophistication. She doesn't know what sepia is. She has to ask him to translate. My favorite part of the analysis is the ending. The speaker says, "Madam, you should see the rest of me." He mentions his palms, his soles, and his bottom. By bringing up these intimate physical body parts, he completely shatters her polite upper-class exterior. He forces her to imagine a black body in microscopic detail. It turns the camera back on her, making her the uncomfortable one. She slams the phone down because she has completely lost control of the conversation. There are three major themes we need to highlight here. Number one, the absurdity of racism. Soyinka does not portray racism as just evil. He portrays it as completely stupid. The landlady treats skin color like she is buying fabric or paint samples. By treating her absurd question with deadpan, scientific seriousness, Soyinka shows how illogical prejudice truly is. It makes no sense to judge a tenant's character by the shade of their souls. Number two, identity and reductionism. This theme explores how a complex human being can be reduced to a single physical trait. The speaker is an educated, articulate man. Yet none of his intellect matters to the landlady. To her, he is just a color on a spectrum. The poem exposes how racism strips people of their individuality. Number three, language and class as power. In colonial London, language was power. The British elite used the Queen's English to assert dominance. But in this poem, the speaker speaks better English than the landlady. He uses words like spectroscopically and peroxide. He subverts the power dynamic by being the most articulate person on the line, proving that education and class do not belong to one race. Soyinka uses several brilliant poetic tools to make this piece work so well. Number one, irony. The entire poem is built on situational irony. You expect a conversation about an apartment to be professional. Instead, it becomes a literal skin color assessment. The speaker also uses verbal irony when he speaks to her with exaggerated politeness, calling her madam
while actively insulting her intelligence. Number 2, color imagery. Look at the colors throughout the poem. We have the red of the phone booth, the red of the pillar box, and the red of the omnibus. Then we have black, white, brunette, sepia, and gold. Soyinka uses this heavy color palette to show how obsessed the environment is with surface appearance. Number 3, onomatopoeia and sensory words. The text is alive with sound and texture. The squelch of tar, the button B metallic click, the clutched receiver. These details make the phone booth feel tight, hot, and intensely real to the viewer.
Ultimately, telephone conversation is a victory for the speaker. He does not get the apartment, but he completely wins the intellectual battle. He refuses to be a victim. Instead, he uses his wit to expose the absolute ridiculousness of the woman on the other side of the line. More than 60 years later, this poem still holds up a mirror to society. It asks us to look at the subtle, institutional ways people are still judged based on identity rather than character. What do you think about the speaker's strategy? Would you have stayed as calm and sarcastic, or would you have just hung up? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this deep dive, please hit that like button. It really helps the channel grow. Do not forget to subscribe to Illuminated Minds TV for more deep dives into history, literature, and the ideas that shape our world. Share this video with a friend who loves great poetry. Until next time, keep analyzing, keep learning, and keep your minds illuminated. See you in the next video.